So the tragic case of Steve Dymond's death following the appearance on the Jeremy Kyle show shines a harsh light on the deeply problematic nature of reality TV and its treatment of vulnerable individuals. Shows like the Jeremy Kyle show, the detestable show, are like a modern-day gladiatorial arena or some sort of public execution, even being hung, drawn and quartered, where participants are subject to public humiliation and emotional ridicule for the sake of entertainment before being finished off. The premise of such shows often revolves around exploiting personal conflicts with the added pressure of a live audience and millions of viewers. And the promise of public validation or resolution, often through tools like lie detectors, as in this case, though here in the in this court process, in this inquest, it was admitted that the mistakes could be made with the lie detector, and maybe he'd drunk too much, maybe he'd eaten too much. The promise of public validation, it's fake. It's fake. Lures participants who believe that the show might bring closure or redemption. In Dymond's case, the lie detector test, which suggested he was lying about infidelity, led to him being booed by the audience. He was already in a fragile mental state, as evidenced by his history of depression and his previous suicide attempts, and the public shaming only exacerbated his distress. And this incident raises profound ethical questions about the responsibilities of producers and hosts like Jeremy Kyle, who hold significant power over vulnerable guests. Dymond's landlady described him as a broken man after the show, his emotional state spiraling as he felt cornered and humiliated. And the show in this instance functioned as a platform for public ridicule rather than genuine resolution or support. And while Kyle has defended his actions and pointed out that aftercare and guest selection were not his responsibility, the broader structure of the show seems to be more focused on sensationalism than safeguarding mental health or finding the truth. But more than that, it demonstrates, does it not? Because Dymond was offered and was given psychological support after the show. He was given support. It demonstrates, does it not, that psychological support is not a panacea. You're not going to sort out all the problems of reality TV with psychological support, with a little bit of psychology. That isn't some sort of magic wand. The culture of reality TV mirrors a kind of blood sport where audiences are invited to take part in the public denigration, degradation, dismissal of others. Participants, often from disadvantaged or vulnerable backgrounds, are reduced to mere entertainment fodder, with little regard for the long-term psychological impact. And this dynamic reflects a wider issue in media and society, the commodification of human suffering and the ethical void that emerges when entertainment takes precedence over empathy and care. And I say again, it's not something you can sort out with a little bit of psychology, particularly as a psychiatrist was probably involved in assessing whether or not Dymond could go on the show in the first place. Psychology is complicit in this process. Psychology and psychiatrists are not the solution. They're part of the problem. The solution is professionalism and support, and making sure that this exploitation of individuals becomes a thing of the past. We don't need trauma, and we don't need cheap crises to stimulate drama. There is enough drama in life. If people in reality TV want to record drama, then they need to cast carefully, and that drama will happen. If they can't be bothered to find writers who are going to write, good scripts, like EastEnders or something, and they want to rely on this sort of impulse, great. Then find the people who are going to create that drama, but do it naturally. You don't need these tricks. You don't need cheap lie detectors that don't really work, and to distort reality by pretending this is true. It's not true. It's public humiliation. And to say that we got rid of this in the 4th century is not true. The public humiliation, the blood sport, continued until the 19th century. Public executions continued until the 19th century. Steve Dymond's tragic story serves as a stark reminder of the potentially devastating consequences of reality TV's gladiatorial culture, and his death, following public humiliation, raises uncomfortable but necessary questions about the boundaries of entertainment and the moral obligations that come with wielding influence over other people's lives. And it is all the more shocking that this inquest should be taking place now. How many years? 5 years after his death? 5 years. And we still haven't had the finish. We still haven't had the proper completion of the parliamentary investigation, the parliamentary committee that was supposed to investigate the tragedies of the Jeremy Kyle show, this, and the Love Island tragedies. Because Boris Johnson called a general election and all that stopped and it was never reconvened. And Ofcom and the reality TV production people, the producers, are patting themselves on the back or generally fondling themselves with satisfaction that they've avoided any serious investigation, because they have. And they get on with making their money, because this is a money-making machine. They don't have to spend very much, but they rake in buckets of the stuff. Cheap television, where people are exploited in one way or another. Now, in about a month's time, I think on the 4th of October, I'm off to Leeds, to the Leeds Playhouse, to participate in a panel where we're going to look at reality TV and the way forward and what can be done. Though I suspect that the general principle will be to hide behind the idea that this is something that can be fobbed off with a little bit of psychiatric support, and it will be reduced to the problem of fame, the loss of fame, or a bad edit. What we see here from Steve Dymond is the loss of agency. Because we don't know whether that lie detector was true. That isn't important in a way. What we know is this person was humiliated and felt that he had no agency at all, that his life had been stolen from him in public, that he had no direction. A broken individual, broken in public.